Hi, my name's Emma Cowburn. Today we're in Portsmouth, in Helen Keppel-Compton's kitchen. So we're going to talk a little bit about the kitchen and show you what it looks like. I mean, I feel that when you came to Harvey Jones, you already had a good idea of what you wanted in the design.
Yeah.
And I mean, we talked about symmetry loads, and we've got that centre point going through. So the design I found really, it was really fun to design your kitchen. Yeah, and it was great that you already had a lot of what you knew, and it was just taking it out of your head and putting it onto paper.
The house is Georgian. And what they really like from a planning perspective, and the conservation team, is when you're very clear that what you're adding on to the house is quite different in terms of its style. So this is more a kind of Victorian style, but in a very, it's not really, it's got that industrial feel and the 1930s windows and everything. I'd looked at quite a few kitchens, so I had some stuff in my head. But I mean, the nice thing was once you got through the planning permission and the overall feel of it, was you could do what you like. I mean, I wanted to keep it simple, high quality, because I'm not going to replace this kitchen. This is going to be here for decades, hopefully, because I didn't actually want something too extreme in terms of the aesthetic of the kitchen. But a lot was in my head, but then what really you and I worked through was the finer detail. And I think I had, the usual, some pictures from Pinterest. I think I had the architect's drawings.
Yeah.
And, you were good at sort of going, oh, well, you could have this, or you could think about that. And we just gradually built it up. The thing that really actually did swing it for both of us, because we both came in, was your design eye and your ability to take an idea and actually start to build on it. Quite honestly, I think it's only when you've been through the process, and I've never done this before. I've never renovated a house. I've never, done a brand new built kitchen. I think it was the length of time it took. I had no idea. This was 2 years plus before we actually got the kitchen in. But that was the bit that the continuity of having you, Emma, all the way through, that made a huge difference. And I think then as you start to live in the kitchen, you realise that, it's the quality of what you've paid for. So when I first came into Marlow, we weren't living here because the house was being renovated and the whole kitchen extension was just an idea. And I think we'd got the first architect's drawings, and we'd got the overall planning permission to be able to do it. But it was quite deliberately really early.
It also meant that we could talk with the builders about the ducting and make sure that that was in place for you. And all of those things, when we get clients that come in a bit later, sometimes it's more working with what's there as opposed to being able to put things in place to get everything to tie it together. And that definitely really helped with how early you started.
Yeah, and it was, I think there were periods where nothing happened for quite a few months, but you were always still there going, oh, hello, you're back, yes, because it was always going to happen, it was just a question of when.
Yeah. And you really needed the designing things so that for services, for ducting, what you needed to do a lot of the design work up front. Then the builders did their bit, and then it was almost like you came back and refined it, ready to go ahead and line it up for delivery.
I mean, in the end, it's about the client making a decision, but I think that you've just got so many things you're trying to decide all at the same time, and you go into overload, and someone that just helps you and says, you almost get to that final, is it A or is it B? And you think, oh, I can make a decision now. It's not 3,000 things.
Yes, yeah. And it's, with you know, with seeing so many other projects and things, you know, it's quite easy for me to say, you know, this is an aesthetical choice. It's not going to make a practical difference to your kitchen, or vice versa. You need to think about this, because actually when you use it, if the dishwasher would have been the other way round, and that's going to annoy you when you take things out of the fridge and you've got to unpack it and it's a bit further. Little things like that, just thinking about how you actually use the space and to make it as practical as possible.
Yeah, I mean, and that was, you were really good at that, because that, again, it's those things that the minute you say, right, you've come back from the supermarket, got a load of shopping, you start actually thinking about how you're going to use it and how you're going to live in it.
And I remember it was even sort of little details like, you know, even like the cupboard above the fridge, making that a double cupboard rather than a pull out, so we had those sort of centre points.
Yeah.
Adding the plinth around the island to give it more of a furniture feel and to be different from the rest of the kitchen.
Yeah.
Those kind of details, I think, I mean, that was really fun just to add into your design.
But that was where you were, because I wouldn't have thought about stuff like that. And it was the, well, you know, you could show me whether it's pictures or in the showroom. It's like, well, you could, you know, you can have the plinths or you can just go back. And it was just all the little things that then started to make it add together. And the other thing, I was just thinking, building on that, which you were really good at, was, so, you know, you can have panelling like this or you can have tongue and groove. And then I was able to go, oh no, I definitely don't want that. So it was actually really helpful to know as much about what you didn't want, that then leads you to what you do want. I think my favourite part of it actually is, it is exactly what I wanted in terms of the heart of the home, and you know, when people are coming round, which finally we've been able to do, it's the fact that I can be in here and you can be doing the cooking or finishing things off, whilst it is incredibly practical and people can sit on the other side of the bar or they can sit at the table, and it's sociable. So I think in a sort of emotional sense, it's the fact it's really sociable.
I really enjoyed the appliance suite in this kitchen. It's sort of a bit, I feel it's so common now to go with the black and the stainless steel, but going through for black throughout, I really feel like the appliances in this are secondary. The kitchen really stands out as itself rather than the big stainless steel standing out. And I think that really complements the whole design rather than, you know, you've got a lot of appliances and it could have been big blocks of stainless steel everywhere, and it's subtle.
In a very joyful way. I mean, everyone just, if they've not seen it before, they walk in and they literally, everyone goes, wow, because I think the space is just amazing. And you walk through a Georgian front door into a Georgian house, which is beautiful in itself, but then you come in here and it is just so different from the rest of it. So I think everyone just sort of takes the whole thing in and they just say wow. And then the other thing that quite a few friends have said when they have been is how sociable it is.